members, 10 or 11 members of your team. Just talk about this senior class and your captain and what they've done for this program.
Yeah, we talked about we talked to those guys last night and addressed the team and how much this class has meant to the program. And I think that they've seen some down years and they've seen some of the best years, and credit to them, they stuck through it. And we kind of talked about that their leadership allowed us to get through the darker times when we drop a couple games we didn't feel we should drop. And we told the guys that when the game's over, we want to make sure that your play is a thank you to the seniors for everything they've done.
Coach, thank you, and good luck against the Bears today.
Thank you.
That was Yale head coach Andy Shea.
Welcome back to Reese Stadium Senior Day festivities going on the field. Eric Gresham, a senior from Alexandria, Virginia, was just introduced to the crowd, and the final guy to be introduced will be Nick Lepla, and he is a senior from San Francisco, California. Well, there's two more guys after that, actually. Yep. I can't see. They moved up, and the lines moved.
It's a lot of seniors today, 11 members of the class of 2011. Steve McLaughlin, a defenseman from Rancho Palos Verdes, California. He's coming up now.
And then the final senior to be introduced will be the Yale captain, Patrick Coleman. And they got to be careful. The guys are getting those very large framed jerseys looking outstanding, but the way that they're pointing them and the lights are on here at Reese are kind of blinding us poor announcers in the press box.
Yeah, I think it was a strategy. If it was, they got to get their aim a little bit better over the Brown sideline.
Yeah, I'm getting a nice reflection off of Alex Forey's jersey that is framed on the sideline. But talking about this, this senior class, and Coach Shea talked about it in our interview. They've been here through the good times and the bad. Last season being tied for the Ivy League title, and having a disappointing end to the season in the tournament. But now they've got a chance within striking distance to make it into the NCAA tournament, whether by hook or by crook. And, just another good season of Yale lacrosse, some tough losses, but yet, we're late, getting toward the end of April, and the Bulldogs are right in the thick of things.
Yeah, their season has been, talking to Coach Shea early in the season, we kind of talked about really the Ivy League is so strong this year that it's going to be teams beating each other up, and it's just you got to stay good enough to make it into the tournament, make it into the Ivy tournament for a shot at that automatic qualifier, which a lot of people are looking at Cornell as and seeing that they're pretty tough to beat right now, but absolutely I think it's a team that Yale could beat. They played them a really close game out here, and I think they could absolutely take it to them.
We're getting ready to get things underway. National Anthem upcoming shortly here at Reese. It is a windy day. We had a very, very nice weather here last Saturday, but this afternoon the wind has picked up, and it's going to be an interesting day. We've seen bad weather games. This is by no means the coldest game the Bulldogs have played this season, but the wind is whipping here between our press box vantage point and Cox Cage, and we'll see how that's going.
And they're calling for some rain, some strong rain later. Let's hope that it holds off until after the game's over.
Definitely, we don't want to see that come into play here this afternoon. So the starting lineup's being introduced to the crowd. The crowd still filing in here at Reese Stadium. Not exactly the biggest crowd, not the size of crowd that we saw last week for Dedication Day, which was just outstanding. Over 1,800 people here at Reese, but they're filing in.
Still early, and it is cold. It's the temperature may say 40, but it feels a lot colder than that out there.
There might be some courage going on still in the parking lot, as we are nowhere near. We are not yet at face-off, allowing those faithful Yale fans. They're usually late arrivers.
Exactly.
So Evan Ellis and Pat Reed on Yale All-Access, our final men's lacrosse broadcast of the season. The teams being introduced to the crowd, and just talking about this, Brown kind of shocked the Ivy League last week and picked off a pretty good Penn team.
Well, I don't know. I think it was surprised, maybe shocked, not that big. Brown's a great team. Coach, I think a lot of people may not know, there was a big opening at Penn State last year for a head lacrosse coach, and it was a very sought-after position. and they've made a hard play at Coach Tiffany, and he stuck with his alma mater, which I give him a lot of credit for that. But, you know, he didn't chase the money. He stayed with his guys. He believes in them. They've got a really strong team. He's got a great goaltender there, a couple of really strong attackmen. They are a threat. And again, just like last week, if Yale doesn't play a good game, this is a game that Brown could come in here and steal.
And, Brown has the overall series record against Yale by a big margin of won 3 of the last 4 over the Elis, and had won 3 in a row until when the Bulldogs knocked him off in Providence a season ago.
Well, that game last year was very similar to our game last week where Yale controlled the game, and then right there at the end they threw a couple of meaningless ones in.
We're going to join the national anthem here at Reese Stadium on Yale All-Access. That was the national anthem here at Reese Stadium. You could hear with our crowd microphone that the wind is howling outside of the press box. And that will throw another monkey wrench into the situation, an old Ancient 8 battle between Brown and Yale here at Reese Stadium. We are glad you have joined us on Yale All-Access, your source for the Bulldogs lacrosse team on the web. So the teams will head out to shake hands and exchange pleasantries. You know, who are you looking for to have a big day for the Elis today, Pat?
Senior day, you always want to see the seniors have a big day. Patrick Coleman, Jonathan Falcone, Brian Douglas, really kind of those 3 kind of go-to guys. But, always with this game, I'm looking for our face-off guys from Yale to see what they can do. They've had a great season so far. Doing some really controlling 2/3 of the face-offs, outstanding numbers for their face-off guys, and a tradition that's continued for the last several years at Yale.
So the Bulldogs are, as the goaltenders, Matt Chris and Jonathan Falcone have shaken hands, and we are ready to get things underway. The Bulldogs going to send out Cole Yeager at the dot, and he'll be facing off against Seth Ratner, a senior from Episcopal in Dallas, Texas. Bulldogs going to be attacking from right to left. And the Bulldogs in the home whites. Brown, wearing brown here, and the face-off is going to be controlled by the Bears, and they're going to get it all the way back to Matt Chris.
Yeah, Brown's a team that likes to attack with their defenders, so this is going to be a game that you're probably going to see a lot of guys with defensive sticks, long poles down in the offensive zone. Don't be surprised to see that.
So Brown will take it into the offensive zone for the first time today, as Whitpen will have it on the far side corner, just inside the restraining line here at Reese. They will go back behind the cage. And Brown will cycle it all the way out, and the Bulldogs will set up. Feinberg with it. Brown working it down low. Shot, score, and the Bears take the early lead as junior attacker Parker Brown from San Francisco put it over the shoulder of Jonathan Falcone. 1-0 Bears.
Yeah, that's a great pass right through traffic to a guy standing right on the crease there. Nothing that Jonathan Falcone could do with that.
So Brown takes the early 1-0 lead. Bulldogs haven't had a chance at it yet, so we're 50 seconds into this afternoon's game, and Brown leads 1-0. So Yeager will go back to the dot, and Cole is going to sweep this one up, and the Bulldogs are on the attack. Back for Mahoney. And the Bulldogs will set things up to Mangan, and now to Douglas. Mangan back with it. He's defended by one of those long poles for Brown. To Colin Still. Back behind for Douglas. It'll go up to the top side for Matt Gibson. Gibson backs it out to Douglas. And now to Brandon Mangan.
Right now Yale's in an open set. They don't have anybody on crease. Well, they didn't. Brandon Mangan working his way down there. Really kind of keeping things spread.
Matt Miller toward the cage and scooped out of the air easily by Matt Chris. And here comes Brown back on the attack. Sam Ford up the far side. Long pole into the offensive zone with Ford. That's one of the things we're going to watch this afternoon.
Yeah, two of them actually in there
right now. A couple of long poles in the offensive zone for the Bears. Whitpin has it.
That's a lot of confidence in your long poles to leave them out there for that long.
So Brown works it back behind the cage. That was Parker Brown. He will hand off the Whitpin on the far side. He's defended by Colin Still. Still with a stick check. And Brown works it in. Back behind the cage for Brown. Brown had it. And he will hand it off and will screen the Bulldogs. Brown working it pretty low. Bulldogs putting a long pole on him here. That is Feinberg. And they will back it out to Slisinger. Back behind the cage. Out to the top of the slot. Hawley. And a pass will go wide. It'll be picked up by Feinberg. Back behind the cage for Parker Brown. Brown shot off the thigh of Falcone, and Jonathan makes a save, his first one of the afternoon.
A great save there. Picked it up, and it was a little bit loose ball in front of the net. Defenseman slid it right over to him to gain possession there.
We have played just a little over 3 minutes, 1-0 Brown. Bulldogs shuffling the lineup, and Mahoney will pass it out to Jack Flaherty. Jack to the near side, Brandon Mangan. And the Bulldogs still not got anybody near the crease as they are spreading things out on Brown. Working it up the far side. Back for Gibson. Gibson works it around the circle. Out to the up top slot for Mahoney. To Jack Flaherty. Flaherty circles back. Shot goes wide. And Mangan will go collect it on the end line.
Yeah, great shot there. I don't even think the goalie saw that one coming.
Mangan brings it in. Looking for a shot. Bulldogs trail 1-0. To Jack. And now over to Mahoney. Mahoney's looking to fire one of those, isn't he, Pat? Working toward the slot. Ooh, nice save. And Mahoney took one to the kisser. And a whistle upcoming.
I think they're just going to let him play on there.
Mahoney recollects his thoughts and has returned to his feet.
Great ground ball there from his knees and then tried to get the ball over.
Cordia has it for the Bulldogs. And he will jog back.
They're trying to work this matchup here. Get a little speed.
Around the crease. Shot off Flaherty. Up to the top for Mangan. And Mangan brings it back into the offensive zone. To Mahoney. Back behind for Brian Douglas on senior day. Career goals leader for the Eli. Shot right in front of the net. Save. And a couple of grade A scoring chances for the Bulldogs were knocked away by Matt Chris. So Brown will forward it ahead, leading 1-0 with 9:36 left to play. Shot in front of Falcone, and the race for it will be won by the Bears. Yeah. They're playing in the near corner.
Yeah, kind of Brown trying to capitalize on an unsettled situation there.
Feinberg will bring it in for the Bears. He'll work it around the crease. trying to put some crossover moves on the Bulldog defense. And he is knocked down. He's going to be scooped up by Parker Brown. Brown trying to show a little bit of that quickness for the Bulldogs, and they're not fooled. To Laster. To the near side, Feinberg. Feinberg fakes a shot back behind the cage for Parker Brown. Falcone out of his crease. Nice check by the Bulldogs. They got a couple of those long poles on Parker Brown. Bears will back it out. Nice move for Jones. Alex Jones has it for Brown, and he will back it out. And they work it over to Hawley.
There's some great moves by Jones there to get through that traffic.
Brown's got a little bit of height on the offensive zone. Shot goes high from Hawley, and Feinberg will go to collect and bring it back in. But Brown's got a little bit of height on the offensive side of the ball, as we're going to see a timeout Yale with 8:25 left in the first quarter, and I don't think Coach Shea likes what he's seeing so far.
No, Yale's playing. They're kind of walking through things. They're not playing with a lot of intensity right now. With the exception of probably that Greg Mahoney play before, they're just kind of going through the motions, taking things slow. So the refs are talking to the Yale coaches.
And they're going to check out, get some stick checks, and we got a good view of what's going on the Brown. Dry erase board down there. What are we looking at here, Pat?
Kind of tough to see from what we got. Let's see. It looks like he's diagramming what Yale's doing on offense, so where they want to slide. Or no, actually, I'm sorry. They're looking at their offense, what they're going to run.
I don't know if we're supposed to be doing this, but we are.
Well, he's holding it up. I'm sure the Yale coaches.
I mean, it's not like he's hiding it or anything. He is.
Well, they're going to go with two guys behind a 2-1-3 and move the ball. It looks like they're going to try to move that ball off the crease somewhere.
Other things you can learn with the wonders of video, and we are glad that we can bring this to you for the inaugural season of Yale All-Access at Reese Stadium. Final game. It's senior day. And the Bulldogs are down 1-0 against the Brown Bears. This is one of those games, a senior day contest where there's a lot of emotion going into the game. Sometimes that emotion can cause you to play tight. Maybe the Bulldogs, that's what they're experiencing right now. Parker Brown is going to bring it in for the Bears back behind the cage to the cheers of his cheering section.
Yeah.
On the near side. Go to Feinberg.
Right up the road there in Providence, so I'm sure moms and dads made the trip down here.
Nick Laster has it, and the Bulldogs, Michael Pratt forces him to pass it off. Brown will work it out back into neutral field to Jones. Jones trying to make a move.
Nice stick check, staying right on his hand, not letting him feed that ball.
He's being defended heavily by Phil Gross. Now Patrick Coleman going to get on the defensive action for the Bulldogs. It's Hawley. We'll take it in and go back to Feinberg. Feinberg calls out the play.
And the refs are just calling a stall warning, telling them they need
shot save, foul cone right on the webbing. And they land it off to Phil Gross, and here come the Bulldogs.
Yeah, this is one of the areas that Brown is really good at is their defensive rides, trying to keep the ball from getting up the field.
Foul cone will go off to Mike McCormick. And it will go up to Colin Still. Good defense still by the Bears. Colin Still turning on the afterburners. And he gets it in the offensive zone to hand off to Gibson.
That's the benefit of having a big, fast midi who can carry the ball up the field.
He'll go to Matt Miller. Miller will go in and out of the box. Back behind the cage for Douglas. Defended by one of those long poles for Brown. Colin Still will back it out to Michael Lippin. Miller, now Mangan. So is Brown transferring what they saw on the dry erase board into the defense here, Pat?
Well, I think they're going to go.
Mangan right in front of the cage, knocked away the loose ball, swept up by Brown. It's rolling through the crease, and the netminder has to sweep it up. And Brown will take control, leading 1-0 here in the first quarter. Here comes Jones. Bulldogs unsettled. He'll dish off to Parker Brown at the near side. Feinberg, shot! Oh. Score! 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 Oh, man, it just rolled over the goal line. A loose ball rolled over the goal line. 2-0 Bears, and Jonathan Falcone is speechless.
Yeah, Brown with some great ball movement, moving the ball from one side of the field to the next, and he caught a piece of it on it when he switched directions, but it just trickled right past the goal line.
6:05 left, first quarter. The Brown Bears on top of the Yale Bulldogs 2-0 on a fluke goal. And they're going to give it to Feinberg, and the Bulldogs, Cole Yeager is going to control his second face-off of the afternoon. Handing off to Brandon Mangan. Bulldogs, a little bit of a sense of urgency all the way around the cage to dish it off to Matt Gibson.
Yeah, and back to that play at the other end, great feed, kind of a little squeezing it, maybe a little bit too tight to Mangan before on the crease there. Yale's just, they're a little bit tight right now. As the game goes on, these passes are going to get in, and they're going to finish.
Wind is moving across the field from left to right. So it's in the Bulldogs' face attacking this goal. It's going to be Cordia working it in. And intercepted right inside the slot by Brown.
Yeah, that's a tough pass. A lot of traffic there.
Lob to the far side for the Bears. They're going to work it up to number 3, who is not. No, that's Roger Ferguson. To Parker Brown. He scored the first goal of the afternoon for the Bears. To Feinberg, who scored the second. 2-0 your score. Under 5 minutes left in the first quarter. It's been all Bears in this one so far.
Yeah, and Coach Shea said, if they have to put a number 1 defenseman on Feinberg, that Parker Brown's going to give him fits today, that he really is a great player.
A couple of good offensive threats for the Bears. Schlesinger to Feinberg. Wide pass going to go out of bounds. Good break for the Bulldogs as they will take control with 4:18 left first quarter and get a horn and some substitutions.
Yeah, this is right now, we're 4:18 left in the first. This is where Yale needs to, get the ball to the attack and put one away. Get some momentum going.
Phil Gross will bring it in on the far side. And we'll back it to Falcone. Falcone to McCormick. Mike, back to Falcone. Long pass to the near side. Mangan knotted up, and they're going to give the ball to Brown on the out of bounds. That was close. As Matt Chris came all the way out of the crease to play it just beside the Brown bench.
Yeah, I thought they might call a push on that, but I'm surprised that, the refs got to remind themselves that, 3-4 lines right there in a row with all different colors.
Yeah, one of the confusing things about the field here at Reese Stadium, 3 different sports played here, so 3 different lines. Here comes Brown on the rush, shot, score! Oh, man, that was Peter Fallon, the senior from Baltimore, Maryland, and the Bears crowd erupts. It's 3-0.
Yeah, Yale knows that these poles are ready to go, and they're going to be bringing it upfield.
And you cannot fall asleep on the Brown transition. 2 goals in transition so far this afternoon. So it's 3-0 Bears, as Cole Yeager will go out for his 4th face-off of the afternoon. He's 2 and 1.
Yep.
2 for 3, I guess you could say. Don't laugh at me, Sam Dorward. And a violation, and Brown controls. They have the 3-0 lead. Parker Brown on the far side. And Brown going to slow things down and set up the offense. Brown has the ball and the lead, 3-0. 1 week after the Bulldogs just dominated Dartmouth. In all facets of the game, it's been all Bears so far.
Well, it's still early in this game. We just have to, you know, Yale's going to pick it up, I'm sure.
George Sherman has the ball for the Bears, and he is streaking around the circle. He's got Michael Pratt in his face. To Slisinger. He plays on both ends of the field.
Nice lift
for the Bears. Good on-ball defense for the Bulldogs, and the pass goes wide. As Alex Forey tries to challenge Teddy Dauber. And a trip. And a turnover. So the Bulldogs get the ball back. And it's going to be Mike McCormick on the near side as they restart play.
Yeah, that was a beautiful outlet pass by Falcone there.
To Miller. Miller trying to work his way into the box. He comes off to the near side for Mangan. Mangan to Douglas. Bulldogs looking for something. They've been turned away every trip on the offensive side of the field so far. Greg Mahoney has it as Jack Flaherty comes off the bench and into action. Miller, as the Bulldogs will cycle it all the way around the world. Back to Flaherty. 2 minutes left. First quarter of action here at Reese Stadium. Flaherty works it in low and dishes off for Douglas. To Greg Mahoney. Mahoney works, circles. And a wide pass. Bulldogs get a race to the ground to the loose ball. And Mangan takes a nice stick check. Flag on the play. And a push is going to be called on Sam Ford.
Yeah, and a great play there. You know, you stop up, you feel that pressure on your back, even if, you know, maybe even if you're not going to go over, you take that push and get the 32nd man up.
So the Bulldogs going to have their first man advantage opportunity of the day. 30 seconds for a push on Sam Ford of Brown. So the Bulldogs going to get the extra attacker.
And Coach Tiffany's down here with his pad, giving his defense the call that they want.
Brown has the lead. Bulldogs have the man advantage here. As Kirby Zadrill comes in, he's the extra offensive man for the Bulldogs in their man advantage sets. They're going to take the ball in with Deron Dempster to Zadrill and to Mahoney to Gibson. They work it all the way back to Zadrill. Top slot for Mahoney. Miller over the shoulder pass for Douglas. Douglas goes low side and it's going to be swept up by Brown. He was a little bit wide on the shot, but it was still steered away by Matt Chris.
Yeah,
1 minute to play, first quarter.
Really where you want to put that shot, you know, exactly where he wants to put it, low and away, going for that back pipe.
Brown has the ball and the lead. We are 50 seconds to play in the first quarter. And Brown will get it to Parker Brown.
Brown slowing it down, looking for that last possession, that last shot.
30 seconds to play.
They don't want to give Yale any chances here.
It's been all Bears in the first quarter so far. And a wide pass. And it's going to go out of bounds. Bulldogs going to get one last opportunity with 15 seconds to play. As the horn sounds and substitutions come on for the Elis.
15 seconds left. You know, plenty of time here to get a decent shot off.
It's going to be Mahoney for the Bulldogs. Position on the far side. Clock starts. Bulldogs come into motion. Mahoney, you got to do something with it. He's going to back it all the way to Phil Gross. To Falcone, 6 seconds. And Bulldogs look like they're going to call off the attack. Falcone lobs it, bounce right in front of the crease. Nice shot.
Yeah, nice shot on goal there.
But it was saved on the three-quarter field shot from Jonathan Falcone. So we head to our first break of the day. After 15 minutes of play, the Bulldogs trail Brown 3-2-0. And Pat, you know, what happened there? You know, what was Brown doing well and what were the Bulldogs doing so wrong?
Well, I don't know that the Bulldogs are doing anything wrong right now. I think that, you know, they're not playing with a sense of urgency right now. You know, they just need to really kind of say, hey, this is 3-0. This is a good Brown team. We need to step this up now. Not panic mode yet by any stretch of the imagination, but just really start playing with a sense of urgency. Brown is doing a great job of working the ball, moving the ball from side to side, creating those backdoor passes. Yale's got to make sure they have their sticks up in those lanes, and keep knocking those passes down.
Coming into this afternoon's game, the Bulldogs had outscored their opponents 24-10 in the first quarter of action. Today, well, they're still in the advantage, but it's now 24-13 as Brown added 3 tallies, one from Parker Brown and another from Andrew Feinberg. And the Bulldogs, as the teams will change sides, Bulldogs will be attacking from left to right here in the second quarter as Cole Yeager goes to the faceoff dot once again for the Elis. He's 2 for 4.
Well, we're gonna need some really good wing play here. Make sure that Yale gets the ground ball.
As Yeager scoops it up, and it's kept, but the ball is loose. Coleman kicked it with his foot, and swinging his long pole. Bulldogs just could not control the ground ball, and it's going to go to Brown just outside, just outside of their straining line.
Yep.
We've played 10 seconds. Brown has possession to start this second quarter of action.
Yeah, somebody needs to step up on the Yale team now and make a play. Something for momentum, whether it's a big takeaway, whether it's a big shot and score, but something that's going to say, hey, it's time to get back in this, Bulldogs.
There's George Sherman as Brown will back it out. So quick look at the net and then backs it out, and they'll cycle. Right in front of the cage. It's Diber.
Keeps going for that swim dodge.
Pretty tough defense by Phil Gross and Michael Pratt. Comes out to Hawley. Thought about the windup. Bulldogs playing up in the face of the Brown Bears. Nice pass through the slot. And we'll go to Parker Brown.
This is a very, very aggressive offense. They're moving really well off the ball, really keeping this Yale, not letting this Yale defense settle in.
The Bulldogs are having to be aggressive in their own right. Sherman toward the cage, blocked away by Michael Pratt. Trying to work it around.
Great
Feinberg,
double.
nice job by Michael Pratt to steal it away, but he's got to pick it up. Pratt pass for McCormick is incomplete. Ground ball, they're fighting for it, and Brown has it. And a takedown from behind on Brian Douglas, and that's going to be a costly penalty as there's some handkerchiefs on the field. 13:27 left to play in second quarter. Bulldogs are going to be man down.
Yeah, he's aggressively going after that ball. Really want to keep that ball on the offensive end, and just the Brown player slowed down a little bit, and he just ran over him.
It's going to be Douglas to the sin bin for the Elis, and we'll have to wait till they post the penalty. It's going to be 30 seconds on Douglas, and the first man advantage opportunity on the afternoon for the Brown Bears. Bringing it in is Sam Herster. To Parker Brown. To Sleisinger. And they'll cycle it around there. Bringing it in a little bit closer. Creeping in toward Falcone's cage.
Moving these cutters from all different places so they don't know where the ball's going to come from.
Aggressive cycle. Wind-up shot goes well high. Hard into the protective netting behind the field. And 2-1, that's the end of the man advantage for the Bears. They still have the ball swatted away by the Elis. It's going to go out of the box as Jack Ambrose. Nice swat to knock that one away. But the Bulldogs cannot get possession. Parker Brown, defended by Patrick Coleman, another flag.
Yeah, he came down hard with that check and caught the edge of the helmet.
Dabrowski on defense for the Elis there. With Jeffrey Foote. Foote, shot goes high. And there's still laundry on the field. It's going to be Patrick Coleman with a slash. 1 minute in the box for the Yale captain.
Yeah, like I was saying, there needs to be an aggressive play that changes things, but we just have to control those sticks on the penalties. Dangerous, dangerous Brown team. You don't want to give them more opportunities to shoot.
And this is an opportunity, no doubt. As Brown, after the Bulldogs killed a man advantage, they're right back a man down. To Parker Brown, just outside the crease. Ambrose puts a stick in his face. He has to back it out. Feinberg over the shoulder pass to the near side, and Brown to Sleisinger. Up top side, Feinberg shot knocked away by Phil Gross. But Brown keeps possession, 35 seconds left on the man advantage.
Brown doing a great job moving that ball across the field through the passing lanes.
To foot right in front of Falcone's cage. And John's going to have to get it out of there.
Great stop by Falcone, protecting that near side pipe.
And he is just kind of tiptoeing. Long pass for Brandon Mangan. Here come the Eli's. Brown's unsettled. Pass for Douglas. Shot, score! Mangan to Douglas, and the Bulldogs have made it a 2-goal game.
Well, all started with that beautiful outlet pass from Jonathan Falcone. 50 yards right on a rope to Brandon Mangan, and that really created the pressure. He drew the slide and found Douglas on the back door. Beautiful goal. 3
transition goals today in this game. The Bulldogs have cut the Brown advantage down to 2. And we are going to see a new face in the face-off dot. It will be Dylan Levings out for the Eli's, and a new guy for Brown. It will be Tommy Capone.
Not sure what the refs are trying to look at here, but Yale is still man down for 13 seconds.
So a shorthanded goal.
Ooh, and there Yale goes offsides.
And there's a lot of dirty laundry on the field. And Brown has possession.
And they'll just send him back in there. You know, once you go offside, that flag is down. You just leave the guy out there.
As Levings now races off and is replaced. Brown has possession. Intercepted by McCormick. Swept up by Pratt, and that's going to draw the whistle.
Yeah, just some miscommunication there. Michael Pratt saw that Dylan Levings was still on the ground. He tried to jump in there and play some defense while he was still down, and both players went across, and just you need to talk a little bit better on that one.
So the penalty is over, well, the original penalty. And now Levings is going to be in the sin bin for 30. And Brown has possession and the lead, 3-1. And they'll cycle, and they are continuing to creep in real close in the cycle. And the man advantage shot goes well wide. Race to the ball, won by Brown.
Great defensive speed by Yale there, you know, as that ball, keeping up with that ball movement.
Jeffrey Foote has it. Finds Parker Brown to Sleisinger. Now the top for Hawley. They work it all the way around back to Foote, and now Feinberg. Bulldogs keeping up with the intensity. Penalty is over. As Mark Dabrowski comes back to join the action on the attack side. On the defensive end. Feinberg. Face guarded by Dabrowski. Wind up shot.
It's amazing to see how quick these slides come for Yale.
Time out on the field is going to be the Bulldogs with 10:19 left in the second. Brown leads Yale 3-1, but we still have a lot of game left to play. Evan Ellis and Patrick Reed on Yale All-Access, our final broadcast of the season from in the regular season here at Reese Stadium. It was dedicated last week, a excellent crowd, over 1,800, the biggest crowd the Bulldogs have played in front of at any stadium this season.
You know, I got to tell you, looking at Coach Tiffany over here, he's back. He's got his dry erase board out again. He's not giving us as good a view.
Yeah, he's hiding it this time.
But, you know, just, you know, interesting to see how different coaches, some coaches will just sit in there and talk, and he's, you know, kind of showing his players, wants to show them on the dry erase board what's going on. Just different styles of coaching that you see across the NCAA.
And they are intently looking at that dry erase board. Because we can't see it anymore, but his players definitely can.
Well, and Coach Tiffany just an amazing, a great coach, really knows his X's and O's, and playing for a long time. Actually comes from upstate New York, right near where Coach Shea grew up, right on the shores of Lake Onondaga, which is the birthplace of lacrosse and the birthplace of lacrosse. So he grew up and really knows the history of the game.
10-19 left second quarter. Brown has it. Bulldogs won it back. They scored on our last possession. As we get close to 10 minutes left to play, Brown has it. Slisinger. They'll work it all the way around. Foul cone between his legs. That was David Hawley from New Canaan, Connecticut, making it a 4-1 game.
Yeah, just a second late on that slide from the Bulldogs.
10:04 left second quarter. It's 4-1 Brown. As the Bulldogs have just not been able to really muster much offensively. It was a shorthanded goal. They got him their first with some excellent passing from Jonathan Falcone. And Brandon Mangan. It's going to be Levings back to the face-off dot. And Brown will control the face-off.
And Michael Pratt's coming in there on defense.
So Brown will work it in on the far side. As their top two attackers are trying to set picks for one another back behind Falcone's cage. Rough start for the Bulldogs. They trail 4-1. Slisinger. Has it. As the clock ticks under 9:30 left. Trying to make a one-on-one move with Michael Pratt. He's face guarded. Pratt, stick check, now a shoulder.
Great individual defense here. Squaring him up.
Fake the over the goal pass. Bulldogs get some help. Coleman racing to the ball. As Diber, pass goes wide. Bulldogs will take over as Falcone goes to swoop up a fresh ball behind the cage to Phil Gross. Gross to Cordia, flag on a play. He's taking a beating
Yale
at midfield.
Yale definitely lobbied for that call.
Over the shoulder pass for Pratt. Bulldogs going to work it in. It's going to be Mangan. Going to be a penalty upcoming on Brown. And another hard hit there as Brandon Mangan has it. Mangan working toward the slide, backs it out to Matt Gibson.
And Yale really wants to try to put one on because if they can score.
Shot scores! Brian Douglas, the senior.
Like I was saying, if Yale can score on this with the slash call, they will still get a man-up situation. So, this is a quick way to make a big momentum shift.
4-2-2. 8:22 left second quarter. Bulldogs have cut the lead in half. It is a 4-2 game. And Brian Douglas adds another here on Senior Day at Reese Stadium.
Great job by the Bulldogs there. Brandon Mangan really kind of working, causing a lot of pressure, and then passes it off to Matt Gibson. And, you thought it was going to slow down, but no, right back into it.
And Cole Yeager wins the face-off as it's Matt Greenberg who prepped at Hotchkiss. Going for 1 minute slashing call. So the Bulldogs have the man advantage, a chance to make it a one-goal game with about 8 minutes to play here in the second quarter.
All right, and Yale's down to 35 seconds on the penalty, getting their man-up unit in here.
The Bulldogs do have their man-up unit out there. So we're going to see Ben Gifford. Shot from Mahoney is stopped by Matt Chris, and that was the Bulldogs' best hand right there that they showed. We'll come to the near side. Brown going shorty. He's got Parker Brown streaking into the offensive zone, and a whistle. Timeout Brown. 7:28 left second quarter. 6 seconds left on a man advantage, but the possession is with the Bears.
Yeah, not the guy that Coach Tiffany wanted holding the ball there. Figure, call the timeout, save that possession. Let's get our guys who are good at holding the ball in there and make a good use of this possession.
4-2 Brown Bears on top of Yale. Second quarter action from Reese Stadium. Evan Ellis and Patrick Reed and our trusty crew of cohorts. We appreciate their hard work this morning on a chilly afternoon in New Haven.
Yeah. I'm putting on the gloves inside.
4-2 your score. Bulldogs have gotten a pair of goals from Brian Douglas, who has been putting on some heaters from just outside the crease. And now Brown, they're getting a full team instruction from Coach Tiffany as the Bulldogs break huddle and send out the defense. Possession is with Brown coming out of this timeout.
And Yale's going to be man up for 6 seconds, so you expect them to maybe quickly double the ball, try to create a little pressure, and then once the penalty expires, they'll be ready to jump back on and get that guy coming in.
As Matt Greenberg will be released on parole in 6 seconds. Parker Brown brings it in on the near side to Jones. And Brown is going to wait to get that extra man back. And Nick Laster will be coming onto the field for the Bears. Jones defended by Pratt. And a high pass, a race for it, and the Bulldogs take over on the errant pass. 7:04 left second quarter.
Great job by the Yale defense, forcing letting them take that cross-field pass, but making with some pressure, causing that pass to go a little bit high.
It's going to be Mike McCormick on the far side. He'll go back to Falcone. Brown, very good in a transition defense.
Yeah, their ride, this is probably the toughest ride Yale's seen this year, I think.
Pratt brings it in the box on the far side to Matt Gibson. Now Miller. Bulldogs slow things down as Miller takes it out of the box to Still. For Mangan. Mangan had a helper on the last goal, on the first goal. Gibson, head fake. Drags a foot and works it back. Bulldogs inching closer. Pass goes for Mahoney. Greg's got to save it quickly. And works it in. The Bulldogs will get the play call on the near side. 5:50 left, second quarter.
There goes Matt Miller with an isolation dodge.
Miller bounced it just a little bit short, but the Bulldogs will keep possession. Gibson will bring it in. What are the Bulldogs looking at right here, Pat?
Well, right now they're just trying to get their shooters open, get a nice quick step, and Matt Gibson's really just such a great dodger.
Ball is loose. Mahoney has it. Maybe. Yeah, he does.
Second big ground ball that he just picked up there.
So they've been trying to, those passes have been difficult to work through the slot for the Elis. As they'll start to cycle it again.
Yep.
All the way out to Matt Miller. Miller's shot save by Chris. Went high to high there.
Really a great look. Nobody picked him up. He got to good space.
Ferguson, the long pole all the way in.
Wow.
Took a slap on the noggin from Colin Still. And I don't know if he was going to throw that flag until he heard the collective gasp from the Brown crowd.
Yeah, that was a kind of a weird slash there. I don't know if he turned or what.
He bounced that pole off his head's what he did. So 4:54 left second quarter. Bulldogs back a man down here as it's going to be Colin Still for a minute for slashing on the far side.
And that's one of those ones that as a coach, you don't know whether to yell or just he knows what he did wrong. You don't have to really tell them.
It's pretty obvious. As the wind picks up, as so does the Brown support, as they are pounding on the near side. Right in front. Nice ball for the Bulldogs, picking up the ground ball. And it's going to be Jack Ambrose getting it out to Pat Coleman. Coleman, he had a goal last week. Can he do something here? And he's going to pass it off to Mark Dabrowski.
Yale's going to look to try to kill this penalty off.
Brandon Mangan comes in. Here, he's got a good look at it. Works through a double team, loses the ball. Ball flies high into the air. Nobody knows where it is except for Brian Douglas, who hustles to get it. 3, 2, 1. Good kill by the Bulldogs.
Yep.
And it all started with a ground ball right outside the crease, picked up by freshman Jack Ambrose.
That's the second time that Brandon Mangan caught the ball coming out of the box and really made a play for the goal with that speed of his.
Gibson back behind the crease, working it around, and they're going to call the violation on Gibson. He might have touched it with a half of a centimeter of his cleat.
Good. The ref's right there. He's got a good angle on it. You know, that's a tactic that a lot of these attackmen use now is, you know, get right on the back of that crease, move back and forth with a roll dodge, trying to catch that defenseman up on the crease, and sometimes you get a little too close.
Good vision by the official. It couldn't have been for very long. So Brown has possession back. Bulldogs killed the man advantage on the Colin Steele slash. 4-2. Inching toward 3 minutes to play. Diber tries to work around Pratt. Pratt takes a swing. Loose ball picked up by McCormick. McCormick to Michael Pratt. Michael Pratt's got speed. And here he comes. Bulldogs in transition. Pratt backs it out and will dump it off to Mike Lippin. To the far side, Brian Douglas, and the Bulldogs will slow things down as Mahoney comes to join the party. And Ferguson comes streaking in on the defense for the Bears. Douglas for Gibson. To Jack Flaherty. Gets the instructions from Coach Shea. As the Bulldogs are, well, they're going to slow things down here. As Flaherty cradles it on the near side. Inching toward the goal. Passes it off to Miller. And now Mahoney. Gregg takes a check and a shot. And it's going wide. The Bulldogs maintain possession. As we get a horn. 1:48 left second quarter.
Yeah,
2-4 game.
Yeah, a great check by the Brown defender there. They don't want to let Mahoney get his hands free in that area.
Gibson brings it in on the near side. And gets it to Mangan. Streaking in front. Miller bounced it right through the crease. I thought he had it. One of the best looks in a set for the Bulldogs all day.
Oh, he's going to be thinking about that one all day.
As Bulldogs caught the Bears sleeping. And a long pass comes up to Brown. And they're going to take it in on the far side. As Jimmy Whitpen brings it in and dishes it off to Feinberg. No? Well, he does now. I can predict the future now.
And they're gonna just take their time, work in the right people.
1:06 left. Feinberg goes to Jones. Alex Jones has it. Comes to the near side. To Peters. Jones. Timeout on the field. 46 seconds left second quarter. It's a 2-4 game.
And Coach Tiffany, he wants to set up a play for the last minute. I mean, he's been pretty good at his diagrammed plays so far.
So he got his marker board back out. No. Don't see it. So
no, he's actually
may get the turf pencil out here.
talking to an assistant coach. Maybe he's just giving him a break, giving him a break, let him rest up for this, be fresh for this last rush.
I mean, you've got another timeout. Why not use it, right?
Yeah.
46 seconds left in the first half of play here at Reese Stadium. The lights are on a Saturday afternoon. The Bulldogs and the Brown Bears, the battle of I-95 here in New Haven. Brown made the trip from Providence. And a good old ancient 8 showdown on a Saturday afternoon. Lots of events going on campus today. Men's baseball team with a 4-game series this weekend with Dartmouth for what could be a spot atop of the league. Softball also in action today, along with Harvard-Yale track. Just across the street, a lot of activities here on the Yale Sports Complex, West Haven.
Speaking of Harvard-Yale, really looking forward to that Harvard-Yale lacrosse game coming up. That's going to be a big one in the Ivy.
That will be in Cambridge this season. Brown brings it back in, 30 seconds to play. They'll cycle it around to the near side. And Hawley to Jones, and Jones will go off to Nick Laster. Laster brings it in. He's defended by Michael Pratt. Back behind the cage to Parker Brown. To the Peters. And we'll go up to Parker Brown. 5 seconds. Brown working it around. Nice check from the Bulldogs right in front of the cage, and time expires, and they wipe it off. He just held on to the ball too long, couldn't find the open shot. So we head to halftime. Our score, Bulldogs 2, Brown Bears 4. We're going to take a break and be back. You're watching Yale Men's Lacrosse on Yale All-Access. Welcome back to Reese Stadium. Evan Ellis and Patrick Reed on the halftime report here on Yale All-Access. Bulldogs trail Brown 4-2, but it was not, the best start, I guess you could say. That's where the Bulldogs kind of fell behind.
No, this season we've kind of seen the Bulldogs start really fast, have a really great first half, great first three quarters, and then kind of fall apart the last quarter and let a few easy goals in. And this, it just kind of, I'm hoping we're going to see the opposite, where they're starting a little bit slow and then they're picking up. That second quarter was much better than the first.
So the Bulldogs are fighting back from a 2-goal deficit here at halftime. We did get a score from across the street, Yale Field. Bulldogs victorious over Dartmouth in the first of the doubleheader that we talked about there a minute ago. They have 3 more games this weekend against Dartmouth, who leads the Bulldogs division. So big Ivy League weekend for Yale baseball.
Yeah, excellent.
And, we're moving into the Brown took the 3-0 lead in the first quarter. Bulldogs put 2 goals in the second quarter, and Brown advanced it to a 4-2 lead. Brown got scores from Parker Brown, David Hawley, Andrew Feinberg, and Peter Fallon all put in goals for the Bulldogs. For the Bears, for the Bulldogs, it was Brian Douglas with 2, and an assist from Matt Gibson and another from Brandon Mangan. So the Bulldogs getting big minutes from a senior here on Senior Day at Reese.
Yeah, and Brian Douglas has been really playing strong the last couple of weeks, and that combination with Mangan. Mangan has been really opening things up with his speed. We had that one missed shot at the end of the half. Really, this game is much closer. It's been so tight all game, even with the Brown taking that little lead in the beginning.
So we are getting ready to head back to the field. We talked about it is Senior Day, and one of the guys that we saw have a really big impact in the first half was the captain of this Bulldog team. And
Patrick Coleman.
Pat Coleman. Talk about Pat.
Pat's doing a great job. He's doing a great job, controlling the offensive players from Brown, not letting them slide. He's coming quick with the slides and slowing them down. He did take that penalty in the first, but really just controlling his team, saying with that senior leadership, saying, hey guys, this is what we're doing. This is what we need to do to control this team, and really keeping a tough Brown team in check.
And I know another, Yale senior is the goaltender Jonathan Falcone. He took his lumps in the first half, and those were some very difficult shots that he faced. But he played pretty well.
Yeah, he did. He did an awesome job. The goals that came were not easy shots. Cross crease passes to guys wide open, or cross field passes to guys wide open on the crease. Not a lot he can do to stop those. Occasionally he'll get lucky and stop one, but otherwise the shots when they're giving him something that he can stop, he's doing a great job out there.
And we've talked about this being a goaltenders matchup, and Matt Chris, he's played well for Brown in the crease so far, turned away some pretty grade A chances for the Bulldogs. Not some all right ones. I'd like to see Yale change the level on the shots, get a little traffic in front to not make it as easy for him. So we are going to head to the start of the second half of action, third quarter action on the final half of Yale All-Access lacrosse coverage in the regular season in 2011.
And this is what I like to see. The Yale Bulldogs are out there. They're ready to go. They're waiting.
They have already reported as Brown breaks their huddle. And Cole Yeager, he is inching to get another face-off opportunity. Dylan Levings took the majority of them in the second quarter. But now Cole Yeager back out for the Elis. Bulldogs and Brown have won 4 face-offs apiece, so you couldn't get much more even at the dot than we have so far this afternoon.
And Michael Pratt and Patrick Coleman on the wings for him. I don't know that there's 2 better guys in the Ivy to have on the wings.
And they're fighting for it, and the battle is on. Yeager had it for a moment. It's going to squirt out. Here comes Patrick Coleman. Coleman, he's streaking in. Had a goal last week. Shot save. But the Bulldogs pick up the loose ball. Mangan puts it back. No.
Beautiful
Mangan,
save.
Mother gets his own rebound. Push shot, score! Brandon Mangan for the Elis.
what a beautiful, beautiful individual effort by Brandon Mangan there. He got 2 of his own rebounds and finally buried it after Chris makes point-blank save after point-blank save. Not going to be stopped there.
And that was all started by a sweeping up of a ground ball by senior Patrick Coleman.
Again, yeah, like I said, great guys on the wing to have, and he's a threat to shoot and score. Chris made the save, but
and the ball is loose off of this face-off, and Brown will sweep it up. But, you know, good ask for a much better start for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, get that momentum going, get this game right in hand.
And Brown, they've picked up their intensity here a little bit, as both teams got a little bit of pep in their step in the first minute of the third quarter.
And here goes Brown changing some players.
And they're going to try to get one coming in off the top, over the shoulder pass to Slisinger. High shot for Falcone. Bulldogs take it back.
No, they're calling that one a pass.
Oh, that's what I meant. Bulldogs get it back. Falcone will go over to Phil Gross, and Gross will play it through John.
And this is what we wanted to see from Yale in the first half, a sense of urgency. We're going to take this. We're going to control this game now.
Crowd continues to come back from halftime activities as Mike McCormick goes up to Mike Pratt. Nice move by Pratt to separate himself from Greenberg. Pratt passes it off. And hits Miller. Miller thought about the shot and gets it back to Mike Pratt.
And a beautiful, here Yale's going to settle it down. They're going to try to get the matchup they want.
Second group of forwards for the Bulldogs. As Flaherty, Miller, and Deron Dempster out for the Elis. And Mahoney will play catch with Flaherty in neutral zone. So the Bulldogs going to slow things down. It's a 1-goal game. Here as Flaherty streaks up, takes away a stick, bounces it through the crease. Bulldogs will keep it and going to be quick back into the transition.
Bulldogs getting some really good looks on offense. They just got to hit those corners.
Here comes Gibson. He's got an assist on the day. 4-3. Brian Douglas has got a pair of goals. He has it to Matt Miller. To Jack Flaherty, the senior. Takes a stick check and passes off for Miller to Mahoney. Mahoney trying to work it around, looking for one of those stingers he's known for. And kind of looking for a screen and just couldn't get it.
Really,
Mahoney fires it through, and it's a save by Matt Chris.
Yeah, looking to try to catch Matt Chris guessing there, waiting for it.
I don't think he falls asleep too many times.
No.
Excellent goaltender for the Brown Bears.
Well, you can't when Greg Mahoney has the ball. Always a threat to shoot.
Parker Brown has it for the Bears. And he will play with his partner in crime, Feinberg, to the near side. McCormick and Johnson out on the defense. Mahoney's back too. Trying to work it down the GLE. Working for the defense from a long stick. Coleman comes over to double. Ball is loose. It's swept up by McCormick. Bulldogs on the rush. Mike McCormick for the Bulldogs. Hands off to Brian Douglas. It's a 4-3 game.
Yeah, really great, smart play by Patrick Coleman, streaking up the field, pointing back, telling the other guys to stay back.
To Dempster. And now Colin Still. Still brings it in and backs it out. Hands off to Andrew Cordia. Cordia jogs to the top side. Hands off for Gibson. 4-3 Brown. Bulldogs trying to make a comeback. Gibson working, and that shot went well wide.
Wow, I don't know how he got that off. That was a beautiful, the Brown defender was lifting. He switched hands and got a nice shot off there.
A lot of traffic in front of the cage. And he had two guys on his body. Douglas will bring it in on the far side. 11 minutes exactly left to play in our third quarter. Cordia out to Colin Still. Still works to the near side. In a battle of nines. Threads the needle for Mangan. He was looking for number 2 right there and backs it out to Cordia. To Colin Still. Still coming down. Working it in. Dishes off for Cordia. Shot, score! Andrew Cordia, the sophomore from Alexandria, Virginia. We are all tied up, and the Bulldog bench is excited.
Yeah, great play there. Collins still drawing down, getting that Brown defense to kind of slough in with them and getting tighter and tighter. Move the ball up top and for a nice open time and room shot. That's a great goal by Yale there.
The goal will be counted to Andrew Cordia, his 4th of the season. And here comes Brown off the faceoff.
Looking to get back in it.
Sense of urgency early in the 3rd quarter.
Well,
it's been pretty much all Yale start of the 2nd half.
Well, that's, you go in at halftime, you say, this is our field, this is our senior day, we're taking this game back. And that's, they're exerting themselves.
Brown has the ball. Dibert. Bulldogs on the defense. And Brown is content to just kind of back it up in the far side. Trying to work around the Yale D. Phil Gross puts it in to the near side. Checked by Michael Pratt. Back behind the cage. That's Feinberg. And he'll back it out. Brown inching closer. Looking for a screen. Bulldogs work around it. That's Jeffrey Foote.
Patrick Coleman ready to go on that slide.
Nice switch for Peter Johnson. Bulldogs good switch on the screen. To Parker Brown of the Bears. Lobbed it over. Shot score was Feinberg. And that was impressive. The lob pass over the cage from Parker Brown. And Feinberg put it back door on Jonathan Falcone. It's 5-4.
Yeah, tough play. A play that you see really a lot at all levels. Running that isolation, drawing from behind. You get a step on your defender and draw that slide, and it leaves your guy wide open on the crease there.
So Yeager will go to the dot. And the battle is on, and it's going to squeak out to Yeager. Cole picks it up. Bulldogs going to try to get something going here. Mangan takes it in. And backs it out to Matt Miller.
Mangan's not looking like he's doing so good.
Yeah, he looks hurt. Going to get Chris Pecora to help him out on the near side. He's going all the way to the bench to meet with Chris Pecora.
And the coaching staff coming over to look at him, make sure everything's okay.
That is not a good sign. Hope he's okay. So Gibson and Douglas try to work the switch behind the cage. Gibson inching for a goal. Flaherty thought about the shot, looking for some space to Mahoney. Dempster, Flaherty, Miller, Mangan. No, Mahoney. Douglas. Douglas shot, bounced it right next to the pipe. And Brown will switch things up.
And here comes, the Bulldogs just going to regroup.
Bulldog
fall
team
back to the midfield.
Bulldog team doctor looking at Brandon Mangan on the near sideline.
Kind of weird play. It didn't seem like anything happened. It didn't look like there was a check. It didn't look,
And that one was slice and draw off his foot. And the Bulldogs will take back control, but,
and he's holding.
Mangan is going, yeah.
Holding his ribs.
He is being accompanied to the Yale locker room by Lindsey Houston, Dr. Lindsey Houston, team physician. She helped Brandon Mangan into the Yale locker room. So keep an eye on that situation as we go on. Bulldogs have possession. Brown has a lead. Matt Miller just took one to the chest. And now there's retaliation. And the Brown fans don't like it. Matt Miller working it. Phil Gross swept up a nice ground ball there to Andrew Cordia, and they're just letting the boys play.
Yeah, not going to let it. Yale wants to get a touch here. Get a touch in because they're calling that count. And Coach Tiffany's not happy with something.
Mahoney scored! Mahoney scored. Nice shot from Greg Mahoney. We're tied again. Oh, man, just put it inside of the far pipe. The goaltender didn't see it either.
Well, you know what? The Brown defense let up it. You know, you always talk about as an offensive player, getting to the island 5-5, you know, right above the GLE, and they were playing great defense until they got to the island, and then they let up and put it right in that lower right-hand corner.
So tie the score to Greg Mahoney. Wow.
Beautiful. And here
comes Cole Yeager. Loose ball is swept up by Mike Pratt.
Another win for the Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs without the services of Brandon Mangan. He is going to the Yale locker room. And they're going to play it out the bounce for Jack Flaherty. Matt Gibson.
They replaced him with Deron Dempster.
Yeah, well, the Bulldogs have went with this lineup quite a bit today. Flaherty's gotten a lot of PT. As they will pass off for Lippin back to Jack on the far side.
Yeah, Yale's doing a great job working the ball, fighting right back into this game. You know, you just keep on playing. You don't give up. And a couple, you know, scrapping for those ground balls. That's where games are won and lost.
And we had quite the scrap on the far side right before that last goal when they started to count, you know, and they let the guys play. Flaherty with a guy behind him, and a pass wide of Still. Colin Still, the race is on. McCormick, hacky sacked it ahead.
Nice job
to Mike Lippin. Bulldogs dodge a bullet there and keep possession. And a whistle.
Ball going to Brown there. They were calling. I'm not sure why they called the stall warning there, but they were calling the stall warning as soon as it got into the box.
Well, there you go. Yale netminder, or the Brown netminder, trying to get it out. Brown goes to Slisinger.
Nice bounce pass.
He is defended by Pat Coleman with a long pole in his face. Working it towards the cage. 5-5 game. The Bulldogs have added 3 in the period. Brown has tallied 1.
And a little hidden
ball. Yeah, we were talking about that at halftime. Don't want to confuse Tom Stokes, our cameraman, but the Bulldogs get the steal, and now they're getting ahead of the defense. It's 4-on-3. Gibson to Lippin, score!
Beautiful, beautiful ball movement. Drew his defenseman and then looked across field.
6-3 the score, or 6-5 the score. My math skills are coming back into play. 5:10 left, third quarter. As the Bulldogs get a goal from Michael Lippin, the sophomore from Delray Beach, Florida. Man, I wish I was there right now.
Yeah, I think we all do.
But the Bulldogs are on top.
That's the first lead for the day?
That is the first lead for the day as Lippin, that's his 3rd goal of the season. And Michael Pratt hustles to the ground ball in the face-off. He is showing the speed.
Nice swim dodge past Ferguson there.
Yeah, Ferguson's been flustered in this 3rd quarter, to say the least. He was involved in that altercation on the far side when they just kind of let the guys play through. Dempster to Douglas on the near side. Bulldogs have all the momentum in the world. But that can be taken away at any moment. It's going to be Miller to Gibson. Bulldogs have possession. They have scored 4 goals in the period. To Douglas. And now working around to Andrew Cordia.
And this is where Yale really needs to step it up and take this game and, you know, really keep on pushing it.
Cordia. Nice move. Miller didn't see it. He dropped it. Fighting for it. Brown takes it away. Untimely error for the Bulldogs. Here comes Brown as the stomping of feet commences to our left. And Brown's now going to slow things down. Just under 4 minutes left to play 4th quarter. A lot of offense on both sides. To the far side, works it back in front. Parker Brown, shot goes wide. Brown will keep possession. The Bears.
That was a dangerous pass right to the middle, and you got to kind of body up a little bit better than that.
Brown, Parker works it in. Knocked away by the Bulldogs, but a push is called.
Hey, great double there, though. I'll take that push, give it to him on the side rather than a guy standing alone right there.
Yeah,
right
without that push there, you might have had a goal right in front of John Falcone. Brown on the offense. Going to be Feinberg. Picks up a screen from teammate Parker Brown.
And they're looking to get a switch, get the matchup they want.
Right in front. Shot. Waved it off. Goal crease. Crease violation. Bulldogs take over and wipe that one off.
And great quick restart ready by the Yale defense there.
Mark Dabrowski across midfield all the way into the offensive zone.
I can't believe that he fed that pass in there and that it didn't get checked away.
Yeah. Yale crowd comes alive. It's Dempster handing off to Collins Still on the near side. Bulldog faithful coming alive as Collins Still cradles it.
They're fired up out
and
here.
Hands out to Jack Flaherty, to Greg Mahoney. And the Bulldog faithful coming alive, and both teams fans have discovered that when you stomp your feet on these metal bleachers, it makes a very distinctive noise. Yep. Brian Douglas has it back behind the cage.
A little case of anything you can do, I can do better with the fans here.
Oh, and an errant pass from Douglas to Still is incomplete, and Brown takes back control. Coming to you live from Reese Stadium in New Haven, Connecticut. Evan Ellis and Patrick Reed on Yale All-Access. 2 minutes and 21 seconds left, third quarter.
And here comes Yale. They're going to get an aggressive ride here.
Well, and a timeout looks like is going to be called as.
Yeah, there were some last-minute personnel changes there. I think Coach Shea kind of realized he didn't have the players out there that he wanted. Called the timeout rather than give up an easy transition clear. And the Bulldogs got to feel good right now. They came in and they were down. They fought back, done a great job this quarter. Take the lead right where they want to be.
So 2:21 left, third quarter. Bulldogs and Brown locked in a tie when Yale leading for the first time all afternoon. Trailed by as many as 3 in the early going. But now they have gotten it back. They've gotten the lead on Senior Day on a chilly afternoon at Reese Stadium. Evan Ellis and Patrick Reed, still no sign of Brandon Mangan.
Hopefully we can get some word from downstairs, see how he's doing.
He went into the locker room with Dr. Lindsey Houston, Yale team physician.
Yeah, kind of, he's holding the arm to the body. You can't tell if is that a shoulder issue? Is that an arm issue? Is it the ribs? What is it? So hopefully whatever it is, it's something minor and he'll be back, or,
Pair of seniors out on the defensive side for the Bulldogs. Alfonso Costa will play the near side. And Eric Gresham, a senior, played football for Yale. Also here and is now out. He's a big, pretty tall guy as the Bulldogs try to maintain this lead on Senior Day.
On that play, Coach Shea pulled out his normal attack and switched it up with some defensive players to get them in there.
And Alfonso Costa walked on the men's basketball team this season as well. So a couple of two-sport stars out for the Elis. A rarity in Division I athletics these days, other than, say, like track and football. But Patrick Coleman with some hard in-face defense there. Brown has it. Might be working for the last shot, you might assume, with a minute 20 left.
It's a lot of time
to kill. Third quarter.
A lot of time to kill.
I mean, it can be done. Ask Yale.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bulldogs are gonna fall for that trick. So we'll work to the far side.
Yeah.
And now back behind the cage.
And again, they're looking to feed that crease right there with
Mangan back out on the field for the Bulldogs. but working it in, saved by Falcone. Phil Gross tries to swoop up the ground ball. The battle is on. Falcone, I think, has it trapped. And a whistle. And a infraction.
They're saying withholding. They're saying he was withholding the ball, and so they're going to give it back to Brown.
But they're going to inbound on the sideline instead of having the ball right beside the crease.
Yeah, he was trying to scoop that ball up into a stick, and the Brown guys were all over him. And that's where you have one of your defensive players have to come in and clean house there.
35 seconds left, third quarter. Works the screen around Feinberg. Bulldogs on the defense.
Yeah, he's
it's a 6-5 game.
Very dangerous there.
Shot well high and out of bounds. And a horn. Brown maintains control, but Mark Dabrowski gets a chance to come out for the Elis, placing Alex Forey. And they'll be inbounding it on the near side. 15 seconds to play. To Parker Brown for Feinberg. Shot goes high again. Who keeps control with 8 ticks left?
Great defensive play there by Yale.
Parker Brown will bring it in. The Bulldogs. This is a long possession by Brown. Parker Brown working it in. Works it out, loose ball. And once again, the quarter ends with Parker Brown holding it.
And that's what Yale wants. That's in that situation, that's the best that Yale could have hoped for. Forcing the guy to throw the ball away. Parker Brown had gotten a step on his defenseman. I'm amazed that he didn't shoot from there. Try to go to the goal.
So it will go to the fourth quarter here at Reese Stadium. And the Brown Bears faithful giving the Yale fans a lesson in spelling. And we are getting ready to head to the fourth quarter. But it's good to see Brandon Mangan back out for the Elis. He was on the field as a member of the attack during that last defensive series.
Looks no worse for wear.
Yeah, rub a little dirt on it and some salt tablets and Band-Aids. Fixes everything.
Yeah.
Ain't that right, Coach?
Absolutely. You got to be tough to play lacrosse, and especially for Coach Shea. He expects he preaches his blue collar work ethic mentality, and that's what you've seen from the Bulldogs today. Good sports day. The NBA playoffs begin, and the home careers of some outstanding members of the Yale senior class will come to an end this afternoon here at Reese. So teams will change sides as we will come out for the face-off as Matt Gibson gets his stick back after the intermission inspections. And it looks like, again, Yale's out there. They're ready to go. Jonathan Falcone steps up to his defense. And we'll see Cole Yeager back in the dot. Bulldogs going to be going from left to right here in the fourth quarter. Sort of reminds, we'll get to that after the face-off. It looks like they got Alex Otero and Patrick Coleman out there on the wings. And normally, so we've seen Michael Pratt a lot. Ball loose, squirted through the legs. And a whistle. Hold. Bulldogs get it. Bulldogs get it as Otero will bring it up the far side and hand off to fellow freshman Brandon Mangan. Otero's looking to help out there, get that ball back. To Douglas. Douglas got everything started for the Bulldogs with the first 2 goals of the day. And it will go to Mahoney. Mahoney flanked by Mike Lippin. To Matt Gibson. Gibson's been held out of the net so far. And we'll go up to the top side. Lippin works it lower and backs it out to Mahoney. Mahoney thought about it to Matt Miller. Miller working toward the slot. Comes to the near side. Really working to get that right hand free. Mahoney, always dangerous to fire from anywhere. And backs it out to Gibson. Matt looking for
An outlet, couldn't find it. Lippin to Miller. Bulldogs picking up pace. Works it lower. Mangan shot goes wide. Ball still free. And Chris has to make a play. And then an underhand pass to his teammate Sam Ford.
Yeah, nice to see Brandon Mangan in there taking the good shot.
And an errant pass goes out of bounds. Bulldogs take back control. 13:22 left, fourth quarter, and a one-goal game.
Keeping that pressure up, pressuring Brown into making some mental mistakes there. And now they'll wait. They'll get in. Yale get their players in that they want.
So the Bulldogs will shuffle the lineup before Brian Douglas brings it in on the far side. So turnover from the Bears could be costly.
Whatever it is, Brandon Mangan over here on the sideline still kind of telling his teammates what was up with his side here.
Still works it low. Passes off to the far side, wide of Miller. Mahoney wins the race. That was great hustle from Greg Mahoney. And then McCormick with a turnover at midfield. But they're still fighting for it. And Peter Johnson with an excellent play there. And gets it back on the webbing of Deron Dempster, and he's working toward the cage. Taken back still, shot off the chest. Gibson, the ball was loose. Douglas dives in front of it. And a push. And the Bulldogs keep it.
Yeah, and Coach Tiffany is over here. He's trying to get the ref's attention. He's not happy. He thinks that there should have been the ball came out for too long. And he's waving. He's still waving his arms and cannot get the attention of one of the officials.
Bulldogs have it with Flaherty, as they have kept this possession going for a couple of untimely Brown errors. Flaherty works it back, takes up stick check from behind. Shot! Ooh!
Wow. Just outside.
Thought he caught a post, maybe the crossbar. As Gibson hustles to the ball and picks it back up.
Yeah, Yale needs to finish one of these and put it away.
Matt Gibson working deep shot, score! No look shot from Matt Gibson over the shoulder of Matt Chris.
Yeah, you can't let Matt Gibson go one-on-one with somebody there and not throw a double. All right?
That is the junior Matt Gibson from Point Lookout, New York. 12:02 left, fourth quarter. The Bulldogs have built now a 2-point lead, as Coach Tiffany is still getting his explanation on why the call went against him to begin with.
Well, he's saying you got to count. You got to count that these guys aren't getting it in, and you know, Coach Tiffany, a Brown graduate, a really bright guy. I don't know that I would say that he might be wrong with that.
Yeager takes it off a bounce, and the Bulldogs. Then a slash, no whistle, but a nice little hit there on Matt Gibson, and the Bulldogs turn it over. But that was just excellent hustle out of the face-off dot to pick up a ground ball by Cole Yeager.
Yeah, Cole's a little upset with himself. The ball stuck in his stick there. You know, that pass to Gibson maybe could have been it bounced before it got there, which kind of helped the Brown defenseman make that check.
Parker Brown will get it all the way out to Slisinger. 11:20 left, fourth quarter. Bulldogs on top by 2. Brown had led the entire first half. It's been mostly Bulldogs in the second. Parker Brown, he scored the first one of the day. Tripping up Peter Johnson. Saved by Falcone, and the shot, putback shot goes over. And a leaping Brown player, that was George Sherman, beat the Bulldogs to the loose ball at the end line.
Falcone's pumping his fist down there. It was a beautiful save, point blank. Beautiful coming out. Defenseman got hung up. And he still managed to make that save.
Diber on the near side for Brown, number 15. Defended by Michael Pratt. Pratt gives him room. Intercepted by Mike McCormick. Here comes McCormick. Bulldogs have a 4-on-3. McCormick going coast to coast and then bounced it. Goaltender hit by Douglas, who has the ball.
And they're calling interference on that, which Matt Chris makes a beautiful quick outlet. His guy picks up the ball, and then that hit turned out to be an interference call and gives the ball back to Yale.
Quick restart. Bulldogs couldn't take full advantage, but Mark Dabrowski has it just outside the restraining line as Matt Miller joins the party. And now the stomping match recommences, and it's Bulldogs in the lead as they are on the field.
And the Brown fans trying to get their guys pumped up. And
well, they can't keep us sustained very well, Pat. Mangan brings it in, trying to make a move. Gets it to Matt Gibson. He scored goal number 7 for the Elis.
And this is that formation with Brandon Mangan coming from the midfield that I love to see. Use that quick speed of his.
Miller working it down deeper. Mahoney to Mangan. Mangan fakes a shot. Passes back off for Gregg. They play catch just inside the restraining line. Mangan working it down toward GLE. Gibson thought about it. Mahoney, he's not afraid to take it. It's just a little bit wide. And Sam Ford retakes it over. And Douglas is fast in pursuit and has to pull up.
And here comes Brown with 2 pulls in on the offense.
Parker Brown shot well wide. It might have been redirected by a stick from Greg Mahoney.
And that was Ferguson shooting there with a shot just wide.
Feinberg brings it in. Brown shuffles the lineup. Underhand passes it to Diber. Bulldogs shuffle their lineup. 8:42 left, fourth quarter.
Yeah, Brown's going to take their time. They want to, they know that there's 8 minutes left. There's plenty of time. Let's get them look that we want.
Bounce pass. Almost intercepted. Shot goes wide. That was George Sherman with a power shot, and it's collected by Parker Brown. Quick restart for the Bears.
Well, wind's kicking
Check
up
for Peter Johnson, and they'll back it out. Yeah, the wind is gusting at times.
Pushing our windows down almost into the cameras here.
We don't want to have that happen. It's kind of scary. So if you're seeing anything, that's what it is. To Feinberg. Nice on-ball defense by Phil Gross. Working it back behind the cage. Bulldogs get the switch. They go back to Parker Brown. 2 Bulldogs, 2 Bears in an all-out battle behind Falcone's cage.
What? And they're throwing a flag for something. I don't know what.
7:40 left. As dirty handkerchiefs all over the Brown offensive end. Dish off pass for Parker Brown. Feinberg thought about it. Goes to a knee. Defended heavily by the Bulldogs.
Beautiful defense.
Jimmy Kraft.
Beautiful individual defense there.
Long stick midi for the Elis. Slisinger from his seat. Parker Brown tries to put it over Falcone's shoulder. And that will stop the music with 7:13 left, fourth quarter. And we'll see what the dirty laundry's for. Interference.
And they're calling that on 35.
So we're going to see Jimmy Kraft, freshman long stick mini from Darien, Connecticut, go to the box for the Elis.
And this Yale man down defense has done an excellent job all day. It's
Slisinger has it. Yeah, the Bulldog man down defense has played pretty well. Even got a short-hander from Brian Douglas to start off the scoring for the Bulldogs. Way back. Great. Loose ball knocked away. Bulldogs still can't get control. Slisinger's shot, score in front of Falcone. It's 7-6 with only 3 seconds left on the man up.
Yeah, the defense got really aggressive there. They came out after that ball, going for the ground ball, and 2 guys were out there, and it just left a seam right open in the middle.
Well, that'll pull us closer together, 7-6, fourth quarter. A good one at Reese this afternoon, a defensive battle to say the least.
Two great coaches.
Battle is on. Who has it? Patrick Coleman. Coleman takes it in the offensive zone. Lob pass for Gibson. It was tipped. Bulldogs keep control. That was definitely a pass, but it was tipped by a Brown player.
Beautiful look, too. He finishes, if he connects at that, Gibson's finishing it. And it's going to be a 2-goal lead again.
6:30 left.
And that goes back to Coach Shea's rules on transition this year of, push it, make the movement, wait till you get picked up, and then move the ball.
To Matt Miller. Miller to Colin Still. 6:12 left, fourth quarter. Still works it in. Bulldogs up 1. And hands off to Deron Dempster. To Matt Gibson. Gibson works it around the crease. Shot goes high, but Douglas will make sure the Bulldogs keep it with 5:55 left, fourth quarter.
Smart play by Douglas there, making sure that he's mirroring that shot. He knows what Matt Gibson's going to do there, so he mirrors it so he can be the first one to get there and get to that ball out of bounds.
Douglas brings it in on the near side to Matt Miller. Miller out to Colin Still. Still works it low. Works it back toward middle. Shots 5-hole for Colin Still. 8-6.
Beautiful work, and he had the size advantage there. Ran down, rolled back, and then rolled back to his right hand, and just the defensive player for Brown couldn't keep up with him. Put it 5-hole. Beautiful look.
Colin Still, a junior from Orland Park, Pennsylvania, and Penn Charter, went where nobody wanted to go. 5-hole on Matt Chris. 8-6 left, fourth quarter. And the face-off, it'll be Yeager at the dot.
Big face-off for Yale here.
Loose ball collected easily by Cole Yeager. And the Bulldogs get it started. It's going to be Coleman just outside the restraining line. Works a pass for Matt Gibson right in front. Bounced it through the crease. He was about 1 foot from maybe icing it. But a good lob pass from Patrick Coleman set that up. Nobody wants to leave Matt Gibson all by himself, but that's exactly what Brown did.
Well, they know that Patrick Coleman's a threat to shoot and score. Two guys jumped him, and that left Matt Gibson wide open.
Jack Flaherty has it. Back behind the cage.
And this is where Yale's going to start slowing things down, I think.
Hope Brown didn't watch that Providence film. You'll see Cordia just inside and outside the restraining line. And hand off to Douglas. Bulldogs are known for being able to hold it for long possessions.
And this is Douglas going back to that position from the
well, we're going to see what Brown does.
Well, and here comes
Why
the stall.
not?
Here comes the stall warning immediately.
Cordia thought about the shot. Trying to work around one of those Brown long poles. And fumbles from Douglas. Douglas gets it back. Dish out pass. Cordia wasn't ready for it. Flaherty sweeps it up. Bulldogs are looking for it. Flaherty on senior day. Score for the senior. Gets a big hug from Deron Dempster and Matt Gibson as we will see Jack Flaherty.
Beautiful goal there. Individual
with his
effort.
Third goal of his senior season. And he gets a big hug from Coach Shea and the rest of his teammates. He's as happy as a lark. 9-6 Eli's. Cole Yeager back to the face-off dot for the Bulldogs. And a whistle, and Brown's going to take control and going to try to take advantage of the fast start. To Feinberg, loose ball. McCormick takes it away. Stolen by Mike McCormick, and he's going to get it ahead to Michael Pratt. But it's stolen back by Brown, who doesn't know where the loose ball is. Well, McCormick has it. So Pratt takes it across midfield, working between two fellers, and comes to the near side to hand off to Matt Gibson. Gibson takes it up along the near side.
And again, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see a quick stall warning from the refs here if the Yale doesn't start trying to press the issue and score.
3:32 left, fourth quarter. Bulldogs on top, 9-6. Biggest lead of the game for either team.
And this is where you're going to see Brown. This is where Yale's offensively going to need to be really patient, because Brown's going to play hard. They're going to overplay.
McCarthy, lob pass for Gibson, taken away in traffic by Brown. Loose ball is swept up by Roger Ferguson.
And right there, Brown overplayed, and Yale, forced in the middle. And it goes right back to Brown to get the possession.
So Bulldogs and Bears still shuffling lineups. Ball's worked down deep. Matt Miller comes over to play D. Shot, score.
No, outside. Outside.
Sorry. Depth perception on the side of that net on the far side. I'm making stuff up. Falcone. We'll go to the far side, Mike McCormick. 2.5 minutes left to play.
And Yale's got help on the far side here. They got to look at that box.
Cordy is wide open. Calling for the ball.
And now he's got to get it in the box and get a touch.
They're counting. Mahoney takes it in for the Bulldogs. Working it low. And dishes off to Matt Gibson. And a whistle and a timeout as Ryan McCarthy had to do something with it.
Great timeout by Coach Shea there. You don't want to lose possession here. 2 minutes, not a lot of time, but as we saw in that Providence game, it is more than enough time to put 2 or 3 quick ones in.
123 seconds left in regulation.
And you just look at the two. If you see the two teams, Brown before was so pumped up, and right now they're already.
They got some low chins right now.
They're on the bus already.
And then the Bulldogs, they're
moving around.
A happy
they're ready.
bunch.
Heads are up. Big senior day.
They continue to get instruction from Coach Shea, but it's not over yet. A lot of lacrosse to play in the next 123 seconds. As we have seen in both the Providence and the Dartmouth games that teams can score quickly. And the Bulldogs just want to finish this one off and finish an excellent home schedule for the class of 2011. Coach Shea talked about it. They've been here in the good times and the bad. And a win today would be a very happy occasion for the Bulldogs. 2:03 left as the teams exit their huddles, and the Bulldogs are back out and ready to go. Matt Chris and Jonathan Falcone both return to their respective nets.
And look for Yale to keep the ball out of the box as long as they can.
And I don't think Brown's going to be fooled by the old let's sit and wait trick.
He's going right to the net.
Matt Gibson right to the net. Falling asleep for the goal for the Bulldogs as Matt Chris, I didn't even know what was going on.
I absolutely, I just finished saying, look for him to wait to go into the box and slow it down.
Well, Coach, your strategy did not work as the Bulldogs add another goal from Matt Gibson. It's 10-6.
That's why Coach Shea is a Division I coach and I'm a high school coach, I guess.
Well, either strategy would have worked. But the Bulldogs just decided for the fast score, and Cole Yeager comes out of the briar patch with it.
Another great face-off win for Cole Yeager. And he's, as the game's going on, it's at first he was winning them out to the wings, and now he's winning them all himself. And Yale's got to keep the ball in the box now. Less than 2 minutes left.
Stall warnings being displayed. Matt Miller. Matt Chris came out of nowhere to defend Miller's shot. And knock it away. Over the shoulder, no look pass to the far side. Ferguson. Lob toward midfield. Bounce. Loose ball. Swept up by McCormick. McCormick goes ahead to a teammate. That's Costello. Costello to Gibson. Wind up shot. No good. 1:11 left.
Patrick Coleman was hanging out down there. He really wanted one today. He really wanted one today.
As the Bulldogs swamp Chad Costello, a senior from Agora Hills, California, and Oak Park Independent High School. And these Bulldogs are a happy bunch right now with 1:11 left in the fourth quarter. Barring catastrophe, the Bulldogs will move to 3-3 in the Ivy League.
You know, and for me, this is what I was really hoping to see out of the Bulldogs. You know, the last couple of games, kind of those late game letdowns, and this really they stepped up and just got stronger and stronger as the game went on.
Bulldogs only have one more Ivy League game this season, and that will be up in Cambridge against that school that we don't like up there on April 30th. They will have a pair of non-conference games this week. Looks like they're heading out Tuesday night over to Bryant in Rhode Island, and will be down in Washington, D.C. on April 23rd. That game will be televised in the D.C. area. Check your local listings.
I think it's actually going to be locally, too, I thought it was SNY. So it should be on locally for those Bulldog fans who can't head down to DC.
Yeah, it'll be on somewhere, especially on, you know, if you got DirecTV or Dish Network or whatever. Watch these Bulldogs on the road next week at Multi-Sport Field at Georgetown University. And Matt Gibson gets the business on the far side and loses the ball to Brown, and we're under 1 minute to play in the first season at the newly renovated Reese Stadium. Tries to work the head fake. Mahoney gets it. Loose ball. Shot goes well wide. And back to the net. So Brown with a sense of urgency. They'll work it around. Slisinger tries to one-on move around Miller. Shot saved by Falcone. Wasn't even fooled.
Looks out.
Goes up to Pat Coleman. Here comes the captain. Up the near side.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, that pass is a little wide. And then Coleman with a nice little contact on the goaltender. No whistle.
Finishing his check, you know.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to call it, it was nice. Brown works it down low. Ball goes free. Johnson fighting for it with Parker Brown. And Johnson goes to the ground, and a push is the whistle. And the Bulldogs take control as Phil Gross will have it, and 12 ticks left.
We got
a whistle all the way back at midfield. Brown calls timeout, and Patrick Coleman will spend the last 12 seconds of his Yale home career in the sin bin.
Well, that's, you know, for a long stick committee, that's an acceptable thing, I think.
All right, so Patrick Coleman, a Yale captain, called for the whistle, and Coach Shea is going to meet with the officials along with Coach Tiffany.
Trying to find out what the call is here.
Maybe seeing where the good places to eat in New Haven after this one. As the Bulldogs are excited in the huddle, and Brown, they've got some ducking chins.
I think
on the sideline of the near side.
Sam's hungry over here.
Maybe. He's been here a long time this morning working out. We will.
Hopefully the refs will help us sort this out.
I hope we can get this figured out. 12 ticks left. Patrick Coleman is currently displayed with a 30-second penalty. So in his last game at home, as the Bulldogs will go on a 3-game road trip, I guess you could say 3 straight home games, or 3 straight road games to end the season. For the Bulldogs. So they're going to call Coleman for offsides. That was it makes sense where the flag was.
Yeah.
But just after all that action we had right in front of the cage, it's one of those kind of anticlimactic penalties.
Pretty impressive that the refs actually saw it.
With a lot of action in front of the the Jonathan Falcone's net. So Parker Brown's going to bring it in on the near side for the Bears.
And there's something actually. Bulldogs are down 2 guys now.
Mangan is going up on the board with a 30-second penalty. But I think Still is going to serve it for him. So 2-man advantage for the Bears.
I didn't hear what they called on Mangan.
Yeah, I didn't either. So Brown will work it in, fires a shot well wide. Goes back to the protective netting with 7 seconds. Clock rolls. Shot from the top, bounced in front, 2-1. Clock stops at 1. And that'll end the game on Senior Day at Reese Stadium. The Yale Bulldogs defeat the Brown Bears 10-6. And Pat, it was a tale of 2 halves. It really was. And I think that might be Brandon Mangan limping out with his jacket on. I'm not going to make any speculations there, but it was a tale of 2 halves, Pat. It really was. Brown came out on top. First quarter played really well, and the Bulldogs just kind of evened things back up in the second. But it was all Eli's in the second half.
That first quarter, I think really that first quarter was the big Brown quarter. Yale started to inch back in the second, and then they just got stronger and stronger as they played, just finishing so strong and really looking like a team. This is what you want to have when you're heading up to Rhode Island to play Bryant this week. So this is what you want to. This is the momentum you want to have.
And for 11 members of the Yale Lacrosse team, their final games at Reese Stadium during the regular season, there's a possibility that the Ivy League tournament could be here. But, the Bulldogs get the Ivy League win over Brown. Brown has really owned the series against Yale. The Bulldogs have won 2 in a row. And, just what a game. Great second half from the Bulldogs. And they came out with the energy in the third quarter. And
big games from the guys that we said we needed to see. We needed to see Falcone have a good game, and he stepped up. We needed to see Pat Coleman have a big game, and he did a great job. Brian Douglas, Matt Gibson with that beautiful clincher, one to really ice it at the end.
You want to talk about a player of the game, but those guys were just all very even. Great games from all those guys.
Well, and I think really looking at Coach Shea's blue-collar work ethic, I mean, this is a team win. They got themselves in a hole early, and everybody contributed, everybody worked hard, and everybody did everything they could to get the team back into it, and they clawed back into it and had a 10-6 win. Beautiful win.
So Jonathan Falcone and several members of the Yale Lacrosse team will walk off of this field for the final time. Regular season action. And we are glad that we could bring it to you here today. So, any final thoughts, Pat? 3 games left and 1 Ivy League game. Got to beat Harvard. Yeah. And we'll see that coming up on April 30th.
This is a team that's got to win out. They've got to win out and play strong so they can get into the NCAA tournament. Let's keep our fingers crossed, hope that they can take care of business in the Ivy tournament and win that and maybe get the AQ.
So, Pat, it's been a lot of fun this season, getting to cover this team. And we started working on this way back in February when it was 19 degrees here at Reese Stadium and all the way through just 2 exciting Ivy League games. Got to see you make your play-by-play debut against Cornell. Just a great season. Thank you, Pat, for helping us out here at Yale All-Access.
Evan, glad to be here with you. And, we started at 19 degrees. I think we're ending today at 19 degrees.
It's chilly in here. But for Pat Reed, our cameraman Tanji Mifaz, and Tom Stokes, our producer extraordinaire, I forgot his name, Sam Dorward, for everything he does and getting this together and showing you all the things you see on your screen. I'm Evan Ellis. For the 2011 season of Yale Lacrosse on Yale All-Access, we can tell you that one thing is true. Bulldogs win 10-6. Good afternoon, everybody, from Reese Stadium.